any more specifics on what questions you need to be answered?
Yeah, I think I'd like to have Lamar in a role that is kind of still on the ball role, but I want to do some things in organizing the offense that will take a little different role for him. And he's also going to be played by small forwards rather than power forwards, which takes a little bit of an advantage away from him at some spots. Obviously, big question is Andrew's ability to get up and down the floor. Will he be able to run the court and have the stamina that he needs to have again to compete? That's important. And adjustment of Powell having to play defensively away from the basket, which is a role he hasn't been used to playing. So those are three questions that could be answered, and that's not even talking about our bench, how our bench comes along and how they fit. But I actually think the bench is probably going to kick the starters' butts for the first couple of weeks. They're in better shape, and they're probably a little quicker right now, and we'll probably get pretty good play out of them.
How does Sunju's illness hurt his chances of being a contributor?
I'm staying away from the fact that I could consider this illness to be anything that could limit his play. I think he can possibly recover. He's young. He had a time zone warp, coming over from China, and that always is difficult coming from west to east, getting your rest. And I think that maybe with a little rest, he'll be back out on the court next week. I'm optimistic he'll be recovering pretty quickly. Otherwise, he could be sitting up in the stands and observing and getting some things by observation. Not as easy, but he'll learn some things.
What do you see his role this year? How much do you think he can control?
He's a learner. This is a rookie, and we always say rookies are lower than whale shit. Want to tell them that?
Lower than whale shit.
That's how low they are.
Can't write that.
No, that's true.
When you talk about the playing time stuff, is that guys having to adjust to different minutes and things like that? Is it more of a concern for players at the front end of the rotation? Are you talking about Vlad, Luke, guys who are bigger rotation players last year that may have fewer minutes this year?
I think it might involve all guys having to sacrifice minutes because of the depth of this team. I see there's 9 or 10 guys that should be playing. And the 10-man rotation really limits a team to two functioning units out there on the floor. And this team could very well play with 2 units on the floor in the first part of the season. So that does take some time away from players, and they have to adjust to it. But in the long run, I think it saves the team a lot of mileage. It did last year for us. We had a lot of support, from guys that were able to give minutes to Kobe and the Fish, other guys to rest them during the early part of the year.
How's Chris been looking these days, and is he healthy enough to where you see he might be able to contribute more this year?
I think Chris is playing really well. I should say that. I think he's moving really well, but his shot has just not been there like he's really an exceptional shooter. From distance, especially for a big guy, 17 feet or more in. And right now, he still hasn't kind of made the adjustment to his new kind of legs, his new spring, his new ability, and I think that'll take some time in training camp. But he certainly looks like he's back and ready to play.
Is there anyone on the team right now that you're sort of curious to see how their season evolved? Either because you thought maybe last season they were sort of on the cusp of a breakout, coming back from injury, looking to rebound from maybe a disappointing season.
Well, I think obviously we have Trevor, Luke, Vladdy, Lamar. We have guys that are at what we call small power forward positions or guard positions in Trevor's case, that are all kind of vying for playing time, and that's going to be interesting to see how they find a way to perform up to getting the playing time they want or we need and can use. And not all of them are going to have a chance to play. And Luke's starting out behind it because he's perhaps not going to be able to play the first few days, weeks, whatever we know. Vladdy has showed us some great performances during the middle of the season, and then tailed off a little bit at the end of the year. And Trevor didn't have an opportunity last year after a pretty good start with us after his trade. So, we've got some interesting situations going on there, and some time and some minutes to be played.
The fact that they had such good chemistry last year, you think that's kind of a buffer against all those people going for the same minutes being a problem?
I'm always pleased at their ability to conform to the team, and even though they're unhappy with their playing minutes, they're still supportive of each other. That's been a real good thing for this team, and that's one of the reasons why they performed as well as they did last year.
That soft label was something that was thrown at the team most of the summer. Is that something you buy? How do you even define a soft team? Does it apply to this?
Well, we know that we weren't a muscular physical team. I mean, that's pretty much, but we were able to get to where we did by the finesse and speed and abilities that we had. So I was always impressed with their ability to be resilient, as resilient as they were. But it was noticeable in the last series, the last game, that they came out with one specific purpose, and that was to stick us in the basket. To really go down. Go to the basket and get what they wanted accomplished on the boards or in the lane. And that affected us. It left a sour taste in our mouth over the summer.
So would you say that, that's accurate, that you guys were a soft team?
You don't get to where you are by being a soft team. But, Boston was tougher than we were in the last game. They got it. They deserved it. I think that's it, guys. I'm dead.